Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Scots Scheme with Macalester College head football coach Tony Jennison. The Scots Scheme is a program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the Macalester coach questions about the Scots, football or sports in general, or just seek the coach's wisdom about life events that are going on. In this month's program, the coach talks with us about team updates and recruiting. He shares with us his insights from the Super Bowl, and we hear the good, the bad, and the ugly from Coach Jennison this month. So let's get right to the Scots Scheme. Well, let's welcome back Coach Jennison for the February edition of the Scots Scheme. So, Coach, let's first of all begin with team updates you have for us.
Thanks for having me, Rob. We are back at school now, and we've gotten underway with our offseason strength and conditioning program. So our guys are in the hypertrophy phase. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And we're basically trying to bulk them up really good right now. We're not doing a whole lot of running at this point. We will transition to that very soon here, where we'll do some more speed and agility stuff. But right now it's pretty much just trying to bulk them up.
Interesting. Team updates on related to injuries that you have going on?
We're pretty healthy. Everybody's healing up pretty well. We've got some minor surgeries over the break that some guys are still out. They haven't been cleared to do the workouts yet by our training staff, but it's just minor things that they had to get done over break. Nothing with knees or ankles or anything like that, just some minor things. So overall, we're in really good shape, and the workouts have been going very well from what I understand from talking to the players and the strength coaches. So we're excited about the commitment that the young men in our program are making this offseason.
And where are you at in recruiting at this point?
We are just finishing up with the early decision 2 application period. So we had 6 young men get admitted through the early decision 2 period for a total of 14 from early decision 1 to early decision 2. And now we're making sure that the financial aid works with those individuals and that they're going to be depositing to McAllister, which we don't have any concerns at this point. So we anticipate that we'll head into regular decision with 14 commitments, and then we've got a number of young men that have just finished up their applications. The admissions office is reading them right now, and we'll learn probably in about another month or a little more than that if they've been admitted. So we've got a couple more months here of hard recruiting, trying to get them to campus, trying to connect with them, educate them about McAllister and our football program, and helping them understand the admissions process, financial aid process, all that good stuff. So it still consumes the majority of our time.
I thought it'd be interesting at this time to kind of talk about what you do during this portion of the off season. Coming out of the holidays, you're heading towards spring practice, but you haven't reached it yet. So what is your role at this point?
Well, it's a lot of recruiting. During the day, we're talking as a staff about the phone conversations we're having and who we need to connect with tonight. We're actually transitioning to juniors right now, too. So February 1st really marks the kind of the date that we set aside where we're going to really start more junior calling and see who's interested with the 2017 class. It's also getting our coaches organized. I know our defensive staff had a meeting last night to talk about scheme and if we want to adjust anything and that type of thing. And we've got some coaching clinics coming up that we're getting organized for those and getting messages out to our staff and how they can attend that, and giving them online resources to become an expert in their area of coaching. So it's just organizational stuff like that, organization of the team in the off season, where we've got a little system within our team that we have clans within our team where you earn points for every member of our team is on a clan, and you earn points for your clan for your academic work, your strength and conditioning work, football, community service, all that good stuff. Anything that helps the team move forward, you get points for your clan, and then at the end of the cycle, the winning clan, they're actually going to come over to my place, and we're going to have a dinner and a party and stuff like that. So it's just organizing things like that and getting everybody on the same page, and essentially putting our players in a position so that they can be successful and do what they need to do to prepare for next season.
That sounds like a good activity that I should be documenting, and so I should be at that party. So
Come on over. Come on over. You're always welcome.
One of the interesting things you have for this offseason in particular is your first player, I'm assuming, trying out for the NFL under your coaching regime here. So could you talk a little bit about what that's looking like?
Sure. Well, we did have Samson last year that played professionally. Samson Bialystock, quarterback, who was Conference Player of the Year, played for the Tampere Saints in Finland and led them to their first national championship in quite some time. But he didn't have any aspirations to play beyond the Finland experience. But Zach Hauser will be going to the Gopher Pro Day here in the beginning of March, and then there's also an NFL regional combine up here that he'll go to, and certainly he's an under the radar guy right now, being a Division III football player. So the goal is to get him in front of some scouts, and hopefully they're intrigued by a 6'3", 290, 300-pound lineman that can run a 4.8, 4.9 40. So we'll see what happens with that, but we're very excited about Zach's prospects, and I know that he has been working extremely hard. He's been meeting individually with Coach Murray. He's been being careful with what he eats, and really wanting to prepare himself to put himself in the best position here in the beginning of March with these different combines to hopefully catch someone's attention.
That would be great.
It would be.
Before we head into fan questions, reflections from the Super Bowl this last Sunday.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was at a little bit of a Super Bowl party with some friends of ours, and so gone are the days when I just get to focus completely on a football game, unless I'm in my office, which doesn't happen for NFL games. But kids are running around and screaming and hollering, and you're having conversations with people, which is great. So I'm probably not the best person to talk about what actually went on in the game. I know that obviously it was a very strong defensive football game from both sides, and I appreciate that. I know a lot of people don't, but I really appreciated how the defenses they played together very well. And I actually saw, watching both defenses, I saw bits of our defense within both defenses. It seemed as though Denver used a lot of 5-man pressure to kind of collapse the pocket, and so that Cam Newton wouldn't have any areas to scramble. And from that, I thought that maybe they'd hit some things in the passing game that Carolina would, but they weren't able to, obviously, and Denver won it. So I enjoyed watching it, and unfortunately now football is done, so it's on to baseball season.
Yes, it is. Heading into our first question this week, we start with Michael from Minneapolis, who'd like to know, what are some of the qualities that you want your players to have that you hope you play a part in helping to instill in them?
We really look for, when we recruit, we really look for character first and foremost. We want young men who have strong character, who have high expectations of themselves, and really see the value in people from all different backgrounds, and treat people with respect and carry themselves with integrity. So we're just looking for really exceptional people. We also want young men that are serious about the academic challenges that you'll have here at a place like McAllister, because it is very rigorous. And then we're just looking for young men that are passionate about football. Beyond that, what we hope to instill is, we just want to help the young men in our program become better people, better students, better athletes, and hopefully they leave here and have learned a few tricks on what can help them be successful in life, in terms of something as simple as being positive, or being organized, or how to connect with other people, how to treat people, so that you can make a good impression and maybe improve a situation or whatnot. So again, we're just trying to surround ourselves with really good young men, and hoping to help them grow while they're here.
Our next question is, are there players that you were expecting to have a really big season or a much bigger impact for you next season?
I probably should be thinking along those lines. I don't usually. Right now, I just think of, how can we be better? What can we do to improve right now at this point? I think the senior class, and we're always expecting big things out of our senior class in terms of leadership and how they respond to adversity and work ethic. But if I had to pick a couple of individuals just off the top of my head, I think of a guy like Alec Beatty, who really, he played a number of positions this year. He played quarterback, he played receiver, he carried the ball for us, he played defensive back. He was all over the field, and I don't know that he really ever got to just get better at one position. And I think next year I'm really excited to see him take one position and run with it and really improve in that regard. Another guy that I'm excited is healthy and working out is Cash McGregor. Cash is a very talented safety for us, and had a season-ending injury in, I believe, the second game of the season this year, and obviously we missed him during the conference run. So those are two guys that come to mind for different reasons. Cash with the injury, and Alec because he was spread thin, I think, even though everybody knows he's got plenty of gas in the tank. He could handle it, but I'm excited for those two because I think that they're the type of young men that are working extremely hard right now and are very motivated to have a great season. And they're going to, my message to all of our players, and shoot, to my children as well, is you get what you deserve in life, and if you want to have success, if you want to have great things, well, that's just not going to happen by flipping a switch or snapping your fingers. You've got to work for it. You've got to earn it. You've got to deserve that success, and those are two individuals that are certainly working to have that success right now, and there's others on our team too, but those two just popped in my head right now.
I'm kind of curious. When I had first read this question, something that kind of popped out at me that I wanted to ask you about is that you had a season where you had a lot of guys that went down because of injury. So when you're asked a question about who you're really wanting to step up, isn't really your message that you want everybody, because you just never know if you're the next guy who's going to have to fill in for somebody.
Yeah, and that's the way I see our team right now. We want everyone to be improving. We want everyone to be getting better. We want everyone on the team to put the work in and build that camaraderie. If we only have half the team, or 24 of our players, or 22, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, that are working hard, well, we're not going to be very successful. And football's a numbers game too. You need a number of individuals on each side of the ball to contribute. You need young men on special teams to contribute. You need them to contribute on the scout team. So we really need. I heard one of our players say earlier. I heard him tell a group of our players that we're only as strong as our weakest link, and everyone needs to pull each other along, and I really agree with that, because we need everybody, especially on a small team like that. So yes, we want everyone to continue to improve, and I've been really excited. The messages I'm hearing from players and the strength coaches is that the attitude and the energy in the weight room right now has really been special. So we're excited for next year, no question about that.
Our next question is from Amber, who asks, I know earlier this season you talked about that you had a phrase that was the focus of the season. Do you have that for next season already? And if not, when do you come up with that? What is the process that guides you?
What's the date today? February 9th. Nope, I'll have that about August 12th. So we report on August 13th, and I'll have that organized sometime around then. But it's not really a focus of mine right now. Although I do, when I hear things, when I see things, I have a little file on my computer that I write things down so that I hopefully remember. But no, I haven't figured that out yet, and that'll happen months from now.
Bruce from Minneapolis asks, a lot of your talent on the Scots team seems to be in the current freshman class. Do you think that group is ready to take the team back to the level of 2014?
Well, our current freshmen weren't here in 2014, so I don't know that they really know what it was like at that point. That's not really anything I worry about. I don't worry about what happened in 2014 or anything like that. I think our focus is really just becoming the best, individual that you can be, the best football player, the best student, the best person you can be. And then if everyone's doing that, we'll be the best team that we can be. So again, I don't really think in terms of can a certain class or can this team do what we did years ago or whatnot. We just want to be as good as we can be right now, because I know this. I know that the teams in our league, the teams in every league, they're going to be different each year as well, and there could be a team in our league that's much better than they were 2 2 years ago or whatnot too. So we just have to worry about doing our very best, again, as people, as students, as athletes. And when you do your best, you've got nothing to hang your head about. That's really our philosophy moving forward.
Joe from Chippewa Falls, the home of McAllister Scott star running backs, asked,
Yes.
do you see someone really having to become a big-time playmaker for your team now that Zandy is graduating?
Well, we definitely need people to step up to fill his shoes. Zandy was a tremendous player for us, and a great leader on our team, and played with great intensity and passion. And certainly, I really don't believe you can replace a guy like Zandy, because he was just a unique person and leader and individual. But I do believe that that is a strong position group on our team, and I believe that we have young men that can step up and do the job next year. I think it's a deep position group. I'm looking up at my board right now, and we've got 6 young men there right now, so it's the deepest position group on our team, and we have some talent in that group. We've got a couple seniors in Ethan Carpenter and Brian Lynn, who I completely trust, who've proven over time that they're reliable and dependable, and we can count on them. And we've got some younger guys too that I have complete faith in too. Matt Bonazzoli and Jacob Jones, that will be juniors next year, working really hard, and they're my kind of guys in terms of doing everything right as well. And we've got 2 freshmen in Will Anderson and Jeremy Steffen, who I believe in also. So I really believe, again, you can't replace Zandy Stoll because of who he was, certainly as a player, but also as a leader and what he meant to our team. But I do believe we have some talent that can do some unique things in years to come. So again, we're gonna miss Zandy, no question about it. But the cupboard's definitely not bare. I really believe that.
Jim from St. Paul would like to know, the talk of the Football Hall of Fame made him wonder if McAllister has a Fighting Scots Hall of Fame.
We do have a Hall of Fame. In fact, a couple members of our coaching staff are in the McAllister Hall of Fame. Lee Nystrom, Blaine Coonsey. In fact, Blaine, our defensive backs coach, was just honored 2 years ago. I believe it was 2014. We were actually down at a game in Grinnell, and he flew back on a 4-seat plane to make it back to the Hall of Fame ceremony, and it was a pretty special night. And he's definitely someone that I was excited to see get in. But McAllister has its own Hall of Fame. In fact, the Nystrom Hall of Fame room, which is named after Lee Nystrom, our defensive line coach, and McAllister great, has all the plaques for all the McAllister Hall of Fame members in there. So if you're ever on campus and you want to see who's in the Hall of Fame, all you need to do is just go into the Nystrom Hall of Fame room, and you can see them from every sport, from every year. It's a pretty neat area, and they've done a nice job with that. And every fall we have a Hall of Fame ceremony, and more people are being inducted into that. I can't recall who the last football player was. I don't believe there was a football athlete that was inducted into the Hall of Fame this past season, but I know Blaine was, like I said, in 2014, and I have no idea what happens in 2015. There's a committee of people that vote on it, and you can nominate people and whatnot. So I do what I'm told around here, and when they tell me who's inducted, then I listen. But I think we're a long ways away from that right now.
Next comes from Jan from Lakeville, who would like to know, do you think it is a bigger challenge for you as a coach than from other coaches in your conferences, because you are likely to have a much more diverse group of players in terms of background than many of the others would? Or do you think that is not really true at all?
I don't know. I think I've got the hardest job of anybody in the world. I don't think that's fair to say. Every coach has challenge. At every institution there's challenges. At every institution there's hurdles. It just so happens that the hurdles here at McAllister, in terms of admissions and financial aid, because 90% of the time, maybe 95% of the time, the recruits that we have could go other places for a less expensive price tag. Those are our hurdles, but at the same point, we get people because of the academic prestige. So where other schools, maybe that's their hurdle. So every place has hurdles. Every place has challenges, and I think it's figuring out who you are is key, and then working to your strengths. And I think that we do a good job of that. But to say that I've got a bigger challenge than anybody else, I don't know that that's true at all.
Heading back to Jim from St. Paul, speaking back at the Hall of Fame, he'd like to know if you believe a guy like Terrell Owens should be considered for the Hall of Fame. He has huge numbers, but the guy acts like a jerk, and he wants to know if he should be rewarded and be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I'm mixed on that. Obviously, it depends on what your Hall of Fame is. If it's just the best players, then yeah, maybe he should get in. But if there's a character piece involved with it, which I think you can make a very strong argument that there should be a character piece involved, then maybe he shouldn't. At the same time, has he ever gotten into big trouble? I think it's usually just kind of being a jerk, like you said. I remember when he pulled the Sharpie out of his sock. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, I don't really recall if he got into any trouble with domestic abuse or anything like that. So, certainly I think that there's different levels of negativity. But if he hasn't done anything extreme, he's just very arrogant. Well, maybe there's an argument that he should be in, but I really don't know. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. I apologize, Jim.
Craig from Honolulu would like to know, with baseball season around the corner, and you saying baseball is your biggest passion, are you excited about spring training?
I am. I'm very excited about spring training. It's always nice because it kind of signifies the start of nice weather around here, and by that time when April or March is rolling around, you're kind of tired of winter around here. So yes, I'm very excited about baseball season. I love following the Twins, and I love when I do travel for recruiting purposes. I love going to Major League Baseball games in different cities, and I'm actually going to be out in Boston this year and hoping to catch a Red Sox game, and it looks like we might be in LA also. So I was hoping to maybe see a Dodger or Angels game too. So we'll see. But yes, I do enjoy baseball this time of year.
Tim from St. Paul would like to know, are you a big fan of the Super Bowl commercials, and do you have a favorite from the past one?
I was a fan of the Super Bowl commercials. I can't tell you that I watched any this year. Again, I was too busy socializing, too busy chasing children or whatnot, or listening to them scream and holler and that type of thing. And honestly, trying to remember a Super Bowl commercial from years past. My 4 children, have zapped any memory that I once had. So I really can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But I do enjoy the commercials. It's just that I don't really get to see them anymore. Someday when the house is quiet again, though, I might be back to that. So ask me 10 years from now.
Eric from St. Peter, working off of last month's question, says he heard that that you say that Rob cannot catch a pass against you.
No way.
Do you think that there's any sport he could beat you in?
Well, the simple answer is no. However, I'm not the best pool player, so maybe something in pool or foosball or darts or something along those lines. But
fencing,
that might be an area where you could get me to. But based on my competitive nature and me not wanting to back down, I'll say no. There's no sport that Rob could beat me at.
I was going to say in girth, I might have beat you in sumo wrestling, but you're still stronger than me. So
I don't know about that anymore.
Still stronger than me.
Yeah.
And we'll end with our good, bad, and ugly for this month.
The good. Fighting Scots are back on campus and working very hard for a successful 2016 campaign. The bad, and bad meaning cool, right?
Meaning cool.
Well, what's bad is our recruiting is going well. I think we do a really good job with that. So I think our coaches are pretty cool, pretty bad when it comes to recruiting. Again, being a positive. The ugly, probably the offenses we saw in that Super Bowl game, but I think that's a function of the great defenses we saw as well. So that's the good, bad, and the ugly.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us this month.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
We want to thank Coach Jennison for joining us on the Scots Scheme this month. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the McAllister Coach, please send them to us at Tony Jennison at minorleaguesportsupport.com. That's Tony Jennison at minorleaguesportsupport.com. As a reminder, we record the show on the first Thursday of each month, so please have your questions to us by the Wednesday prior to that. I want to thank you for joining us again this week. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll look for you next month on the Scots Scheme.